Hello, everybody, and welcome to this latest in the ValuesJam Deep Dive Conversation series and the first of 2026. And I'm thrilled to have these two guys here today because we were just having a chat before and the word wisdom came up, and I can't think of two people with much more wisdom than these two in the area of education in different ways. So please take the opportunity to introduce yourselves, Gwen and Thomas. Gwen.
Well,
Okay, thank you, Alan. Um, so I'm Gwen Clifford. I was born in Edinburgh. I now live in the south of England, near Winchester, and I've been in education all my life. I started off, and I got into education, I suppose, through my involvement with brownies. Um, first of all, leading brownies and engaging with young people. I was fortunate to we had a youth club because I grew up in a deprived area, but I was very lucky to have a youth club because in those days we had youth clubs. And that's where I learned to play the guitar. I'd always gone to piano lessons. I've always been quite musical and I've been fortunate with that. And but I learned to play the guitar and at the youth club. And then I started to teach the guitar to youngsters. And then I went into nursing because that's what my mum wanted me to be. And I specialised with learning disabilities and mental health. And I really wanted to teach them and to help them to develop new skills and be more independent. But because I was working in a big institution at the time, and in nursing in those days, you couldn't diversify the way that you can now. And so I was told quite categorically, no, you cannot go into the school that we had in this large residential setting for the learning disabled individuals. You have to go to become a teacher. So after qualifying and working as an experienced nurse, I then went and studied my teaching degree, and moved down to London. And thereafter, I've been in teaching. So I started off, did my degree in London, primary education, specialised in maths and science and music, and then special educational needs was always an area of interest and inclusion. I didn't enjoy living in London. I was in the southeast and it wasn't a very nice part. And so I moved. I just decided that was it. I didn't want to live there anymore. Rented out my flat and moved down to Surrey in Hampshire, and I've been here ever since. And my career in teaching has taken me through, yeah, in special educational needs. I was the head of a PR unit, so a unit for social emotional behaviour difficulties, deputy head in mainstream primary schools, and then head teacher in a couple of mainstream primary schools. And then after investing over, yeah, 100% into that role for over 10 years, because I've been in primary education for 25 years, I went into higher education, further education and higher education. So I've just been teaching all my life, but actually I do enjoy working with individuals and supporting them with whatever aspirations they have. And if I can help them in any way, then that's what I do.
Thanks for the introduction, Gwen. And I wasn't wrong about the wisdom, was I? Goodness me, all of those decades of experience at different levels of age groups. That's amazing. And Thomas, what about you, your relationship with education?
yeah. Well, I was born in Norrköping in the middle of Sweden in 1944, and then my the family went to Stockholm, and I've been most of my time in Stockholm, Sweden. I in the first years I didn't actually like being in school at all. But anyway, I went to school, and then I went to university. I took a degree in sociology, and after that, actually, I was asked by a guy who I had been a friend of mine to go into the correctional system of Sweden. And as I at that time, I had no other idea, so I did that. And I worked in the correctional system for 30 years. That meant that I had a kind of professional way of being advisor to prisoners for a couple of years. But later I went on and became a professional teacher for staff. And I was a team building professional that I met with all the staff in prisons. And I taught them how to analyze teams and to see the resources in the groups and so on. So that's what mine was. I was known about at that time. So I was in a lot of cases. I was really teaching other people how to analyze and how to work and so on. And I really liked to do that. After the correctional time, I became a consultant, and I went out in different firms and worked with the team building and leadership training also, so in that kind of things. And after that, I went, as I'm today, I'm an editor of a journal in Sweden. It's about crime and punishment. And today I'm very active in the situation where the Swedish government wants to put everyone in prison, and me and other guys are really resisting this in a lot of ways. And they are researchers and they are practicals. A lot of people. What the government wants to do right now is to lower the age when people can be sent to prison from 15 to 13 years. Wow. But a lot of demonstrations against this proposal from the government. We don't know, but the government right now is very, very much in the state of putting people into prison. And me and others actually, of course, are working much more how to do things before people, the youngsters became criminal and so on. And my special area is what is happening after the prisoners have been released, because I see the Swedish landscape, it's not corrected, it's not structured to actually take care of the ex-prisoners, and that will mean a lot of problems for them and for the victims. So that's a big thing for me right now.
Okay.
When I look at the Swedish schools today, there is a lot of discussions about that, because it's not good enough right now. My biggest problem is for the guys in the prison in the schools who are not very brilliant, if you understand me. I mean, the brilliant guys will always go, but we are doing too little about people who are not that intellectual, if you understand what I mean. And that gives me a lot of anger, and I think, and that leads, of course, that these youngsters will go into crime because they are not supported and not seen, and so on. Well, that's my story. I've been a teacher at the police school in Stockholm too, and so on. And so talking about, of course, of my special area is crime and punishment, and how to meet with those problems. Yeah.
Wow, that is so incredible, because, we don't know each other. We've never met each other before, but there's synergy here with regards to helping individuals who are disadvantaged and recognizing the challenges that they face and the fact that there's systemic weakness.
Yeah.
rehabilitation, writing people off, governments who just want to control people,
Mm.
crime and punishment, locking children up at 13 years of age. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That's writing people off before they've even
yeah.
had a chance to grow in any kind of way.
Mm.
Dead right. And if I can, I think I'm going to kind of finish the circle in a very different way, but one that I think um, does close the circle in some ways before we move on into the conversation, because I'll keep mine short. But my relationship with education is just one of deep, deep gratitude. And the reason for that is that I was brought up on a council estate, so public housing. I was brought up by my mum. I was the only boy on my street that passed the 11 plus. As a result of that, I was able to go to the local grammar school and got to go to university. If that had not have happened, probably like many of my peers, I would have ended up going to work in the local dockyard for 40 years and then die.
Mm.
So I just feel really blessed that I was able to use the education system to get from the world that I was born into a world of opportunity and
Mm.
to benefit from that. So it's kind of the other side of what you were saying about you wanting to help people. I was helped
Yeah,
by the system, right?
that's good.
Um,
Yeah.
and here's a question which is going to take us a little bit away from the systems thinking, but is still related. And it is two questions in one. So, what role do parents play in our relationship with the education system? And how can parental education benefit everybody?
Mm.
Well,
I think,
I've got again, that was absolutely central to everything that we did in terms of supporting our children, the families, the community that we lived in, that we were serving, our school communities were serving. It wasn't just serving the children and giving the children opportunities for themselves and for their learning. It was actually working in partnership with parents and helping them to upskill themselves, but also to help them to learn how to engage with their children in
mm,
learning.
yeah, I think it's nice to hear. Well, I think this is a very, very important thing because you see in Sweden a lot of divorces, which means that you have lonely mothers and that actually are taking care of this. They have a tough situation because they are working and they should support their children. And to me, as we are saying, of course, you should actually have a really good system to teach the parents to give the children the support they need at home.
Mm.
Because if my mother, I could say, my mother wasn't interested in my development. When she came home from work, she said, "Oh, I love you, Thomas." And then she went into other things. So I got 30 seconds every day, but that's what it. I love you, Thomas. And then she was never interested in actually to see what is my kind of things that I could do and have interest in and could develop.
Yeah, I had a similar experience, really. I was just my mum's extra pair of hands.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. This is fascinating, isn't it? Different lives. So when Thomas was speaking there, I was thinking about my mum, and she equally was not really very supportive or of assistance or anything else. But that was, and I don't mean this unkindly, it was out of ignorance.
Mm.
She didn't know how to help. You know, she wasn't well educated, And so she had to just leave me on my own to get on with it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't sort of malintended, if that's a word even. You know, she didn't mean bad by it. She just did not know. And that's what's behind my question is that, you know, when I'm involved in these conversations about education, there's a lot of focus on the children, the relationship between teachers and children. But then I think about, well, when that child goes home, if they go home saying, "Oh, I started to read this book at school today and it's really exciting," and the response from parents is, "You don't want to be doing that. What a waste of time. Come and watch this movie with me," or whatever it is. You know, if you're fighting against that, what can you do?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it's like unconditional love and interest and togetherness and guidance. Parents need to be present, whether you're a single parent or you've got two parents. You know, there's just if you're not if that attachment, if that positive attachment isn't there, then it's very difficult for children to. Well, that's what my understanding, that's what my experience really.
I think you should have some kind of a training system, meaning that when the kid is going to start to go to school, there should be meetings with parents, and not just meetings, but really giving information of what could happen, that in ways that you as a parent could actually support your child. It's not a question of bringing or taking hours. It's more of attitude of actually listening and giving signals. And I think so. You actually have to take the parents to the school and actually declare, give them information what could happen and what couldn't happen if they were just passive. Well,
and
I think relationships are at the heart of the matter.
yeah.
Absolutely, first and foremost, in everything, in all of our relationships, and yeah, they're really key. I mean, in social work, we work like you with your rehabilitation with prisoners and young people with youth offending and stuff like that. Yeah, there's this. We all need this one. We need, if we're lucky, if we're fortunate enough to have one person who believes in us
Yeah.
and is unconditional in that belief, then that can really turn someone round.
Absolutely. But is it realistic or even fair to rely on you said if we have the good fortune to have somebody that believes in us. And parenting is probably the most important job anybody ever does. And yet we're never told how to do it other than by our parents who are learning firsthand. And it's kind of there's not very much in the way of quality control around parenting. And that seems really weird when you consider how important a role it is.
But then politically and culturally, we don't value parents.
True.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because it costs too much money, Alan.
But that money is very important, and that should go actually to this. Yeah, sure.
I mean, I think you've got is it Norway, the Norwegian system where the oh gosh, hang on a minute, where the I'll just switch that off for a moment. I didn't realize my wee brother was going to call me. Yes, so in Norway, the one thing that is really, it's not perfect system, but one thing that's really impressive is the fact that all of the money and wealth that they have gained from oil, hydroelectric, everything has been ploughed into the social structure and fabric of their country.
Wonderful.
And so I've worked with Norwegian students, and I've got a friend who's Norwegian. And in our country, with our banks, for example, if you haven't got enough money, you can't get a bank account. And then, of course, if you can get a bank account, but you get into debt or whatever, you're just paying interest. You're just paying the bank more and more money and getting further and further into debt. Whereas in Norway, if you've got problems, you can, it's not that you get money for free, but the banks help people
Mm.
to recover from their financial crisis.
Oh, that's,
And I just think I say it's not perfect system, but there's so much more. I'm going to use this word, caring and kindness, and yeah, just this collective understanding that actually, as a country, we are responsible for our children.
mm.
And Nelson Mandela said that it takes a village to raise a child,
Hmm.
Yeah.
not just the parent,
Hmm.
the mother or the father.
No, it's a system you need around.
And
Very.
Gwen, earlier you mentioned the importance of relationships. You said it's all about the relationships. And Thomas was talking about taking parents into schools at the beginning of a
Mhm.
child's education. And yet, in my experience, both when I was growing up and also more recently, it seems that that relationship is quite adversarial. You know,
Absolutely.
the parent is like, you're the school, you're supposed to educate my
Mm,
child.
mm,
And the school is saying, but you need to support what we're telling your child to do,
mm,
and you don't do that. The
mm,
child's caught in between and doesn't know what to believe or who to believe.
mm,
So, what could be done better there?
Well, you just need to look at the physical environment of our schools in this country, Alan. And you turn up at a school gate, and it is a gate, and it's
Mhm,
got an entry system.
mhm,
And then if you actually get through that entry system, the first thing you do is you've got to register yourself at reception and give your give all your details and things like that. It's like it's like trying to enter a prison. And you
mm,
can't actually get through to your child's classroom or anything unless you've got a proper um time slot, and you're supported by other members of staff or shown around the school by, it's all organized. And yet it used to be where we didn't have all these big fences
mm.
around our schools. But then you see we had that incident in Dunblane, the shooting of children at schools in Dunblane in Scotland. And and that was really the start of really putting in all of these measures. And then we've gone completely. I'm not, I'm in social work, so it's not about demolishing safeguarding and not being aware of all these safeguarding issues, but we've now got to the stage where it's almost like we're terrified that children are going to be harmed at any possible opportunity.
Mm.
And we don't give children opportunities. When you were growing up, Alan, in your um, area, and certainly when I was growing up in Craigmillar in Edinburgh, where they filmed Train Spotting, it was full of druggies and it wasn't safe. But we, as children, as friends, we were all together. We all looked after each other, and even people in the community. Although we were poor, all the families looked after the kids were looked after.
yeah.
People kept an eye out on the kids that we were when we were out playing in the street or in the back green or whatever.
Mm.
We learned how to keep ourselves safe. There were strange people then, but we all work together to protect ourselves. Whereas now I feel that children and young people are not, they're not given the opportunity, or they're not taught how to keep themselves safe. I'm sorry, I'm going on here, but one thing I used to always say to my kids when it came to the beginning of a holiday, when you leave school for your holiday, make sure that you listen to your body.
Mm.
If you go somewhere where you're not safe, your body will tell you. Your hair will stand up on the back of your neck.
Mm.
Your pulse will start to get faster. You'll feel prickly skin and feel uncomfortable. That's your body telling you, actually, should you be here? Is this safe?
Mm.
But t children need to be taught how to keep themselves safe, but they need to take risks, but they need to learn how to work together to protect and how to look after themselves.
Mm.
That's my view anyway.
Mm.
And could you just give us a little bit extra in terms of how parents could slash should be involved in that?
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, I think, well, but again, it's back to schools helping children and helping parents to understand what their role is in helping children to learn how to keep themselves safe.
Mhm.
So we had we opened a children's centre on site. We used to have lots of parenting, family learning, but we also had lots of involvement from, at that time we had community police who came and did talks in school, and parents were invited to those talks as well. And we all worked together. It was a very challenging. I've always worked in very deprived communities, but the key thing was working with the parents and working with everybody who was everybody who was a service to that community and those families. It was about us all working in partnership with our kids and the families
Mm.
Mm.
and helping our families understand what they could do to help to teach their children and keep them safe.
Mm. And Thomas, what's your perspective on this balance that we're
Yeah,
talking about here?
I was
Because
thinking of one important thing is that at least in Sweden, when you're talking of schools, it's like if you are very clever, you could go to university. And that means that some of the kids, of course, go to university, but the other ones, they can't see that other things than being an academic is good.
Yeah.
So you need even for the parents to understand it's not a question that we want your kid to go to university. It's a question of there are different opportunities. There are some people go to university, other go to practical work, and your kid, we could see where he will be best. It's not a question of being best by going to university. It's a question of getting your kid into a situation where he can or she can feel satisfied by it. You understand what I mean? I think this kind of discussions must be in the schools and in the parental world, so that everyone understands it's not a question of being best by actually being most brilliant. It's a question of being a good person. Some people use their head, other with their hands, and they are all very good.
Exactly. Absolutely. Here. And I think the thing is that we get this rhetoric that's peddled through our media and our political parties about widening opportunities, getting more people who, would never have got to university in the past, go to university. And yet now we've got millions of people who are qualified with degrees who can't get jobs.
Exactly.
And the thing is, from my perspective, if somebody wants to be a window cleaner and they're jolly good at that job,
Yeah, sure.
well, that's fantastic, and they need to be valued for that.
Exactly.
But we're not like that, or at least that's not my understanding of what it's like here in the UK.
and again, it's the systems that we create that
Yeah.
reinforce. So, for instance, all of the schools are measured on how many people they
Yeah.
get through the exams, right?
Mhm.
So you can't expect them to be doing anything different if that system's in place. Similarly, parents are wanting their kids to be a doctor or a lawyer or a high earner. What's that all driven by? Because no, they don't have to be like that. And today I was with some people, and there was a lady there who was saying that she wants to go and help young offenders. That's going to mean a pay cut for her, but she's now talking to her partner about whether that's going to be doable for them, because it's what she really wants to do. And it's like, it's great that people are taking that into their hands to go and do what they want to do, rather than, oh, because it'll be a few £1,000s more a year and we'll be able to spend it on whatever it is. I'm going to be unhappy at work all my life. It's like, but again, it comes back to the role of parents, because unless the parent is supporting a particular message, or whatever message the parent is driving, there's a fairly high chance that's what the child is going to be influenced by, right?
Yeah.
When I was young, we Sunday school, going to church, and Sunday school was so important.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about God, or really, well, I suppose it was, but it was actually about families getting together and people as a family going to church, the kids going off to Sunday school. And we even had, Sunday school picnics and things like that, where we'd all get on a big double-decker bus and go from Edinburgh over the Forth Road Bridge to Aberdour or whatever and sit on the beach and build sandcastles. But the thing is, our country, I'm not saying, well, maybe I'm saying, because I know for sure that we've now got greater numbers of younger people who are, because they're switching off from the technology in search of something else.
Yeah.
And we've got more young people who are actually inquisitive about church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, there's nothing wrong with the Ten Commandments with regards to how to try to live your life
Yeah.
and how to love your neighbor.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. I do think, I was talking to a Baptist minister up in the very north of Scotland about this a few years ago, and there was something good about going to church, listening, taking time out, spending time, getting some instruction on what you could do to try and improve your own happiness, really, by, I don't know, thinking about other people and thinking about the world and the environment rather than just thinking about yourself. And I think that the social media, the media technology, the exponential growth of that and the impact of that is really significant.
I really agree with you, and I get the idea that what is important is not only the family, but the surrounding, the thing around the family. And what's very bad in Sweden, we are so individualistic. So, and we need to go back to actually that we're creating systems of 10 or 20 persons around the families, which means that the parents could actually talk to other parents about how to do and learn by that. And also in that kind of situation, you could actually bring in what we want to say, that how you could, in the best way, have a good attitude against your children. So I really, for me, it's very important how to recreate the old local situations where families go together and have discussions about how to handle life.
And I think what you're both talking about here is, well, one, community, and whether that's between families, between age groups, all of that, and then the power of, or maybe the difference between education from an academic attainment perspective and a broader definition of education, say in a social sense. So by bringing communities together, education takes place naturally between people.
Yeah.
Whereas we don't seem to value, measure, recognize that at all.
No.
No. I mean, I don't know. Are both of you familiar with the African concept of Ubuntu, the
Yeah.
philosophy of Ubuntu?
Mm.
And that this the importance of interconnectedness
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
people working together with compassion and respect and community.
Mm.
And I know that in Africa is like us, it's got many, many problems. But, as a philosophy
Mm.
for a culture,
Yeah.
but the thing is we've now got who would be who would be promoting that kind of thing? Certainly not Elon Musk
No.
or Meta or Google or anyone,
No.
because that doesn't serve their purposes of gaining more money, of greed.
Mm. That's true. Yeah. Mm.
I don't know what the solution is. I think that what you were describing right at the very beginning, Alan, about kindness
Mm.
and trying to trying to yeah connect with and also celebrate everybody, what everybody is doing, what every act of kindness,
Mm.
and how that is actually supporting people and communities is so important.
Mm.
There is a connection there with education as well, Gwen, because sad person that I am sometimes, if I wake up early and there's nobody else to talk to, I talk to ChatGPT.
Oh.
Okay.
And I started a conversation around the value of kindness because I was just curious if it was viewed through a more economic lens,
Mm.
how would that look? And I won't go into loads of detail, but two things came out. One was, I should say, kindness includes volunteering, for instance.
Mm.
There's no value placed on that or not recognized very much. Philanthropy happens a lot under the radar and isn't quantified or collected. That's where it all started. And I used the UK as the base, and it said that if you were to take philanthropy, volunteering, social care, and industries like that, which are basically based on kindness, then if kindness was regarded as an industry sector like others,
Hmm.
it would be equivalent in size to the combined construction and hospitality industries.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of it. Then I started to get curious around the cost to society of unkindness.
Mm.
So this is the other side of the coin, right? So I started to ask it about the justice system. The only reason we've got the justice system is because a lot of people are unkind. We've
Mm.
got bullying in schools that needs to be addressed because people are unkind. We've got domestic abuse
Oh,
because the costs associated with that because people are unkind. And then I asked it to put those two sides of the coin together. So the value of kindness in a positive way, the cost to society of the lack of kindness, and then asked it to extrapolate that on a global basis. And it said conservatively, kindness is an industry sector globally worth anything between $2 and $3 trillion.
Okay. Oh,
Now, if that's true,
yeah.
then why is it not getting more attention?
Yeah. 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 Good question. Yeah.
And there's just another follow-up, as a more specific one. I've got a bugbear with the mainstream media. If we assume that 50% of stuff that happens in the world is good and 50% isn't good, then why do we not see 50-50 reported? Why do
Mm.
we see 80-20 reported?
Mm.
And when we often see good reported, like the news channels here, you'll get the main news, then you'll get some sort of flippant story on at the end where this bunny rabbit outside Edinburgh did this thing. And it's not even reported in a serious way, it's jokey. So why can we not find serious stories about kindness?
I had a friend. He was a part of a Swedish newspaper, and they were reporting a lot about sex and violence. And then they had a meeting, and they were saying, "Let's stop this. Let's stop this. We can't just report about sex and violence." And they decided. So the next Monday, there were no sex and no violence. What actually were that? They dropped.
Yes.
Yeah. And after a week, they had a crisis situation discussing, and let's put in sex and violence again. And the paper just went up.
Yeah. And that is something to contend with.
Yeah, that's a sad story.
Yeah.
That's interesting though, because I put my hand up because I'm I've become I'm really not interested in social media at all because I just know how destructive it can be for people and individuals. But people are using it when it's used well, it can actually have some really good outcomes. I'm just thinking, listening to what we're saying here, and thinking, you know, maybe we should do something on TikTok, start something on, you know, just like name your give us your kindness story or
Yeah.
have you got a story, have you got something to share about what have you done today that was kind, and then get them to do a reel or something
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
And I just wonder whether that would, we need to be a bit more creative. We need to think about it. I'm just thinking, could we do something on TikTok just to try and
Why not?
see if we could collect people? Yeah, because I remember years ago I got involved with the Human Values Foundation, Alan, as you know, and I always had this dream, and I still have it every time I go to London and I go up and down those escalators in the underground.
Yeah.
And I know you've got the metro in Sweden, and but we've got all these advertising boards.
Yeah.
And so often you go up there and the advertising boards might be empty. There's nothing on them. And I did try and contact the London Transport to try and find out who controls those boards. And yeah, I'd have to pay absolutely thousands and thousands of pounds to get to activate it. But I always thought we could have this really nice poster on these panels that, live your values, get a lift to a better life.
I think the time is right, right now, because the situation in the world is so negative, and there's so much about violence and so on. So what you're saying actually is we could actually inspire people, and actually to give more information, to give more about the light side of the bright side. And that could be because I think people really would like that. They have a need to actually, because they are so sad about the dark situation. So when they could see a bit of light, they would be actually very, very keen on having it, I guess. Yeah, good idea.
Well, I think so. I wonder too whether we could. I don't know. This is really sparking me off now. Thinking, could we get some young people to do something to help here, or Instagram, TikTok? I mean, I know I've got friends. I'm not on it, but friends who are on Threads, and I think I don't. Yeah, I really don't subscribe to any of these things. I do have an Insta, but I don't use it. But I just wonder whether maybe I'm missing a trick here.
Well, it comes down to education again, doesn't it? Because it's about so before we started to record, I mentioned Nirmala, who had been the president of the World Kindness Movement. She does a lot of work with youth, and it's about educating younger people that being kind can be cool.
Yeah.
And understanding the science, the amazing impact of being kind sometimes in very simple ways.
Yeah.
But if we don't educate people, then they're often blind to it. So
Yeah.
today I was I'm on jury service at the moment, and at lunchtime, the lady in front of me ordered two coffees, and I said, "Oh, are you treating somebody?" And she said, "Oh, well, one of the other people on the jury yesterday just bought my coffee for me, so I'm going to return the treat."
Mm.
And once you start that ripple effect going, it continues and continues, but often it's kept quiet. And many people feel shy to
Yeah.
tell their stories because they don't want people to think that they're bragging.
Mm.
And also people don't want to, and the other thing, of course, is people are afraid to put the stories on to media because they start getting hate mail and they start getting
Yeah,
trolls
maybe. Yeah,
and it all gets, I think that's where you have to be really careful, don't you?
yeah,
I mean, if we did something, if we seriously, if we took this idea forward and tried to do something, we would have to do it in such a way that we wouldn't allow anyone to put up offensive responses. So we could create a reel and put it up there and say, "Do you have a story?" And then they share the story, but it then becomes secure, where nobody can start targeting them or trolling them.
yeah. You might like to check out something called the Kindness Community Project. So it's run by a lady called Robin Simpson in Australia, and it's a tech platform. But for instance, they have a kindness wall on there where they encourage people to send in their kindness stories. And well, there are two challenges, I think. One is getting everything into one place so that everybody can access it and see the magnitude, how many wonderful stories there are. That's one, rather than it all be spread out and kind of invisible. But then the other is, if you're successful in that, it's how do you help people navigate when you've got a vast volume of information, because else it just becomes overwhelming.
Mm.
So it's quite an interesting dilemma to have those two different aspects. One, collection, but then two, making it accessible.
Okay, so what's that called? The kindness?
The Kindness Community Project, and it's Robin with a Y, Simpson.
I was thinking of a situation in the buses. Sometimes people are actually, young ones are standing up when I come because we could see this old guy, he needs to sit. And now I got the idea, I should write down 1,000 small papers, and on every paper would say, "Thank you because you are a very, very nice person." And when next time this happens, I will give
What a wonderful idea, Thomas.
it paper to that one, and also say today I will always say thank you because I think what you did was very good. That's what I'm saying. But I also could say next time I will have this little paper and say, here you have a proof of that you are really a good person. That could be an idea.
I
Yeah,
think yeah,
I think
do it, Thomas.
I will.
I'd love you to use the word kind in
Kind,
on your paper. But
kind.
and I'm just wondering whether there could be something like, thank you, you're a kind person, keep it up, or do
Yeah,
it again, do
yeah,
it more.
yeah,
That kind of thing to get people to understand that it's something to celebrate and do again and again and again.
yeah.
it's definitely worth trying because the one thing that I found when I went to Australia, New Zealand, a couple of years ago, I went to New Zealand and I was traveling around for 5 weeks, and I went to Australia too. But in New Zealand in particular, I noticed that the people there were just so much kinder.
Really.
They everybody spoke, everybody acknowledged each other. On the bus, they said hello to the bus driver. And then as they were, and there was none of this kind of having people struggling to get on with buggies and not having a seat or whatever. And as they were leaving, even the young people, everybody said thank you
Yeah,
to the driver.
yeah,
And
Okay.
I just, but the thing is, that was what Britain used to be like when I was a child.
I still do that, Gwen.
Yes.
I
Well,
shout.
I do too, but you know, yeah, it's just like we've forgotten.
My favorite town is Boston. When I've been to Boston, I actually really like, because again in the buses, everyone, the whole bus was standing up when I went in there. Everyone
Oh.
were offering me a seat.
There's Thomas with a massive rucksack of cards.
Just traveling around the world with your thank you cards.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Now,
Maybe we could start a movement. Let's do something, just do something small to achieve something big.
well, another resource for you to look up. It's a movie called The Power of Small.
Oh, yes, I've seen that. Yes.
Have you?
Yes.
No.
Okay, Thomas. Well, Gwen, why don't you tell Thomas what it's
Oh,
about?
I can't remember the whole story, but I have seen that.
Okay,
I,
so Thomas, a lady who was fortunate enough to be reasonably wealthy,
yeah.
Yeah.
decided to give money to 50 people that she knew,
Yeah.
and their brief was to be kind
Yeah.
with that money.
Mm.
Yeah.
And the film is the story of their projects that they
Uh-huh.
embarked on. And the amount of money involved was not insignificant. So it was either thousands or sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. And there are two stories that stick in my mind. One, this was a lady called Wendy, and this bit of the movie was, I think, filmed on New Year's Eve because they were wishing her well for the coming year.
Mm.
And during the conversation, it comes out that she's homeless.
Mm.
And yet she was so full of energy and a lovely person. They gave her a card and an envelope, and so she read the card with their kind wishes, and she was very excited. And they said, well, aren't you going to open the envelope? And so she opened the envelope, and there's a load of money in the envelope. She then gets even more excited and then explains that she is currently staying in sheltered accommodation. And she explains that last night there was an old lady who was really cold because she didn't have a coat.
Oh.
And she said, and now I've got this money, I'm going to be able to go to the secondhand clothes shop and buy her a coat.
Oh.
And it's just, for
Ah.
somebody to have that kind of mentality in their situation. And then the other one was a guy. He said that he got on really well with the lady that did his hair. And so he explained he had been given this money. Did she have any ideas for a project? She said that one of her children's best friend was a savant musician, so could play any instrument really quickly, who knows how, but wasn't from a very wealthy background, so never had chance to have an instrument or practice. So they bought him, I think it was a trombone, I can't remember, and he's now in a jazz band.
Ah.
And so, and then what's come out of that is I'm now talking to them about how we might scale that model.
Mm.
Imagine if all of the wealthy foundations in the world used just 1% of their wealth to give away, get researchers to record the impact assessment, and be able to collect all that data.
Oh, that
But
would.
again, sadly, Alan, it is wonderful and could be really profound.
But
But but we'd have the scammers
yeah, we would.
who would work out how to
Yeah, we would.
scam it.
Yeah,
And I think this is we're kind of up against this all the time, aren't we? That there's
yeah.
there's, there's just people out there
But doesn't
scamming away
this
all the time.
this is really aligned to your earlier argument where you were talking about child safety?
Yeah.
Because what you were saying is that we've cut off our nose to spite our face, basically, because we're now being overprotective and children are losing out on so much. So, and I used to have this when I was in the hospitality sector. My guys used to say to me, we got this complaint. We're not sure if it's a real complaint. They might just be trying to get a freebie. I insisted that we treat every complaint as a proper complaint, because the risk is that if you start to get into people's heads that you're not really complaining, it becomes a disaster. So I would much rather be trusting and be disappointed occasionally rather than mistrust everybody at the beginning and do nothing.
Oh yes, yes, no, I agree. I do,
Right.
I do agree. I do agree. But
I agree.
I think we just have to we do have to temper things, don't we? We have to be aware. I guess it's like anything. We have to assess the risks.
Yeah, be savvy and not naive as much as you can, but don't take it to the extreme. So just continuing that education thing, I heard somebody, it's probably a year or so ago now, and there was another shooting in the US, and somebody seriously suggested that a solution might be to arm the teachers.
Oh,
It's missing the point.
missing the point. Yeah. America is bad right now.
Now, I think I want to be respectful of people's time, and that feels like it could open up a big conversation, which I don't want to do at this
No,
stage.
no.
So what I'd like to do to wrap this up, World Education Day is coming up, and so in keeping with the spirit of World Education Day, and based on what we've talked about today, what are you encouraged to do differently in the field of education? And Gwen, if you don't mind, I'll put you on the spot to go first. What are you encouraged to do differently as far as education is concerned, based on what we've talked about?
Well, I have um I have a song that I've created,
Okay.
and I really would like to get it yeah, get it arranged and share it.
What's the song?
Well, it's a song that I created using the Brownie Guide law, the guide law. The
No.
scouts and guides, they have
Oh,
this,
yeah, yeah.
and you're probably the same in Thomas, in I don't know, in Sweden. What groups do you have in Sweden for young people? Do you have scout? You must have scouting and guiding.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
And so we have this promise that kids have got to repeat or say, when they join and get and become enrolled and things like that. But anyway, the new promise that they created is really tricky. In the old days, I promised to do my best, to do my duty to God, to serve the Queen, to help other people, and to keep the Brownie Guide law. That's what I learned when I was 7 years old,
Okay.
and I've never ever forgotten it, and I can just reiterate it any time.
Yeah.
But the new guide law is really difficult, so I turned it into a song and taught it to my little brownies and stuff like that. And one of my girls who's experiences dyslexia, um, and was struggling with it, she said, can I sing it to you?" And so she sang the promise. She sang this song to me to make her promise, and it was very moving
Uh,
that she did that. And I just think, yeah, I think music, and I am so uplifted to now hear so much discussion about the importance of music
Yeah.
for children in schools and for people generally. Music is a great level. Music is a language. It doesn't matter where you live, music is music, and you can communicate through music.
really.
So, Gwen, in terms of getting your song arranged, what baby steps are you going to take in the next few days to move
Well, I
towards that?
spoke I spoke to a friend yesterday at the choir because I know that he's also a musician, but he's much better than I am. And I've asked him if he can help me. And
Okay.
he said he would give me some. Because I'd like to pick up my piano again, and I said I need some lessons, but I really want to learn. I've got all these songs, Alan, and not, it sounds. I've got all these tunes
Yeah.
and things that I've composed in my way, but they're not properly composed, and I want to be able to compose them and arrange them.
Well, Gwen, what you won't know is that Thomas created the first World Values Day song.
Did you?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Wow.
The new reconnecting song. The new reconnecting song.
So what a lovely serendipitous end to this call it's becoming. And Thomas,
And
what are you?
Thomas, can I share with you, and Alan, can I share with you
Yeah.
a song that I created, or
Yeah.
I wrote it, or for my children when the local authority was closing my school.
Mm-hmm.
It's called, and basically I wrote this song and had it arranged with out of the arc music, and my kids performed it. It's called Save Our School, Chinham Park Save Our School,
Oh, lovely.
and it's on YouTube.
Can you mail it to me, please? The song. Alan can help me with getting.
I'll just email both of you so you're connected and then you
It's
can.
it's on it's on YouTube. But anyway, the Save Our School song,
Okay.
and also the other song that I created was for the Queen, and it's a video of the kids were singing to the Queen. And the thing is, it was based on the girl guiding law, a song that we make.
Promise.
Promise, sorry. And so I did all this, videoed it, and it's again that's on YouTube as well. We even sent a copy of it to the Queen and got a letter back from the Queen thanking us for our video. And girl guiding, they liked it, but they didn't promote it. And the reason why they didn't promote it was because they were in the process of changing the law.
Right.
Mm.
But rather than telling me what the new law was or they allowed me to go ahead and produce this video and this song and get it out there and send it to the Queen, which was wonderful, and Blue Peter and everything. But it never went anywhere and the children who did it, it was never celebrated further with the children because Girl Guiding changed the promise.
Promise. Wow.
But I've written a new song for the promise, but actually, um, yeah, let's collaborate, Thomas, because
Yeah.
maybe we could make it into something else.
Mm. Really. Love to.
And Thomas, from this conversation, what are you encouraged to do differently in the area of education?
I guess two things. One is actually to write down these small papers for me to give to others. That's one thing. Another thing that we haven't actually talked so much about is to make people more close. I had a friend in Spain. She came to Stockholm and she asked me, "Why are you not seeing each other when you meet in the street?" And that gave me the idea that one part actually to be able to educate is actually to have a relationship. So you have to. So I would like to, in some way, to create more relationships. And in the relationship, the people will educate each other. Crazy idea.
And how about you, Alan?
So mine relates to the summit that is taking place about kindness in May, because I think from this conversation, what's been reinforced to me is the importance of non-academic education and social education and the topic of kindness. So imagine if it was on the curriculum.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, this is a bit, I've only just thought of this and it might sound a bit self-serving, but last year I had a piece of work published, which was, it's called the kindness equation. So I've broken any act of kindness down into its various component parts. So it starts, for instance, with being ready. So, and that consists of awareness. So being aware of your surroundings. Then it's about data, being able to collect information. And then it's about empathy. So understanding the impact of an act that you might commit on the other person. And then there are other bits as well. But just imagine if kindness was made more scientific and young people were educated about it.
Well, you know, we do MEC, which is making every conversation count.
Okay.
And MEC is based on it's World Health Organized, but it's also NHS. It's all about how do we it's all about changing our behaviors and our lifestyles. So what does it stand for? So in MEC we have the five ways to well-being: being active, eating healthily, keep on learning, be active, eat healthily, keep on learning, something about an environment. Oh gosh, and something about the environment. And then the last one is giving back. Why can't I just recall all of those?
What's the acronym? ME?
No, well, so making every conversation count. And it links directly to the five ways to well-being, which are being active, eating healthily, keep on learning, connecting with others, and giving back.
Okay.
Good.
Look, we've got enough material here to do lots of things, haven't we?
Yeah.
Really.
And that's part of the issue, is that people, and this is similar to what I was saying about the kindness space, instead of collaborating, people are just recreating what somebody else has already got a version of. And that's duplicating effort and wasting resources. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining this. It's probably one of the most meandering conversations we've had in a Values Jam deep dive, but that's the beauty of them, because you never know exactly where it's going to go. And we did address education and the importance of parents and how we might do something about that. And we all also stretched to other parts as well, which was a joy. So thank you very much for joining, and this will be posted on YouTube in the coming days.
Wonderful.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Oh no. Oh no, it's just our voices, Alan, is it?
No, it's this, if that's okay with you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Dear.
But if either of you are not comfortable with that, then we don't go. All right, I'm going to say, let's say goodbye to everybody. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you at the next one. And next month is love.
Oh,
Ooh.
what day? Which?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me just check. I've got it here, actually. So it's on Thursday, the 12th of February.
Yep.
It's on Eventbrite.
Lovely. Thank you.
Lovely.
Well, hopefully, Thomas, we'll get together. We'll make contact
Yeah.